And good evening, or welcome back to another playthrough live and exclusive to YouTube. I am your host, Swishbone, for the remainder of the evening. Now, for those of you who've never been here before, this channel it usually goes on about playing games blind for the first time and giving our reactions in the chat box that way. But this series is me revisiting my college and university years when I was playing Gran Turismo 4 on the PlayStation 2. The best Gran Turismo, I will have no arguments to the contrary, is one of my favourites to say the least. For those of you who've been here before, whether you've watched me lose my mind on the Crash Bandicoot 1-4 games or of course the Sonic Adventure duology, maybe you were here to watch me plough on and show the final bosses what for in Resident Evil 4 Remake thanks to a couple of rocket launchers. Perhaps you were here for the classic streams like Final Fantasy 7 and Forza 4 or the weird streams like Doki Doki Literature Club and Song of Memories. Either way, a huge welcome back to all of you people. Get your comments in the chat box that way. That includes you, Avian, saying you made it and you brought the popcorn. Oh, glad to see you expected the entertainment tonight. That's fantastic. And we've also got Joe in there saying hello, people. Good evening to you. On the last stream we did for this, of course, we took on the Supercar Festival in the Cizetta V16T, a bizarre Lamborghini/Ferrari ripoff. And it's made me think, I'm pretty sure in the European events, yeah, there we go, La Fiesta Italiano. Well, it's Italian production cars, standard or sports tyres required. I say we get started by going Italian. I don't think anything, though, can be as crazy as what happened in the F1 race yesterday in Austria. 71 laps and 20 participants. And over the course of the race, there was 1,200 offences of abusing the track limits. These are the top 20 drivers in the world, people. And to say it's a farce is an understatement. The race did not even have a formal result until something silly like 3 hours after the checkered flag had fallen. It's a farce and something badly needs to be done. But with that in mind, let's chase after the Alfa Romeo. That's to take evasion because I'm far too quick for it. Yes, here we are, Autumn Ring Mini. Get out of my way, you know it's sideswipe me then. I said out of my way. Lancia Delta Integrale, fantastic car. Oops. The only problem with this car is on sports tyres it has absolutely no grip, but it has plenty of power. But what happens, Avian, is they get warnings that escalate to penalties. So it started with like you get a warning, then you get a second warning, then you get a special flag saying next time you do it we'll penalise you. And then after that you got a 5-second penalty. Now in my opinion, it would then go to a 10-second penalty, to a drive-through penalty, to a stop-and-go penalty, and then disqualification. But for some strange reason, the Autosport moderators decided to do something different. They had it where after the 5-second penalty, it would reset. No, that's not a deterrent. Keep the scaling up, and if you do too many, you get black flag. That's what I do. And oh, nice, Joe. You saw an R34 Skyline today. What was its colour? I saw one about 3 weeks ago from a distance, which was silver. And it was an R33. The R34 is my dream car. I would love an R34 Skyline. They are absolutely beautiful. See, now that I've got clean air, this race is mine. No one's going to get near me. Oh, very nice. White with a carbon hood. That'll be quite an expensive one. I like that. I'll say, the thing about the Skyline is you could get it in almost any colour and it'd look great. You could even get it in hot pink and it'd look incredible. Although secretly I want the hot pink car. Don't tell anyone that. Yeah, Joe, I'd love to see that. I would say I love seeing classic JDM machines. If you've got a photo of one in a while, get it into my Instagram. Absolutely. Please feel free. mean, like, in terms of modified cars, the worst thing I saw, and Avian can vouch me for this, well, I think it was Avian, it might be Queen, when we were walking around the Danforth in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we saw a Chrysler 300C with a stupid amount of gemstones embroidered into it. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was awful. Midnight Black, Midnight Purple, they're fantastic colour choices, Joe. They're classics. Well, I would say they're absolutely brilliant. So that's the first race over, and that was relatively straightforward once we got to the front of the field. Yeah, not much more to say on that one. Not a bad start. Because we're trying to see how much of this game we can complete using prize cars only, and it was you, Avian. Yeah, I thought it was you, Oswald. It was hideous, absolutely disgusting. Oh, we're going to the Côte d'Azur. Okay, that's quite interesting. I'm not sure it's fair on the kids with the glitter gun, that one, really, Avian. I think they'd have done a better job. Whoever modified that car deserved to be impaled with a spoon. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No easy way out for you. It's a spoon. Oh yes, look at that wonderfully high-res, flat textured background of the Monaco skyline there. Obviously, being the PS2 era, that's how they got away with a lot of the detailing. And you know what? I kind of miss it. There's something about the old school aesthetics that I really like. I'm doing more overtaking than you've ever seen a race at Monaco. Shot with a glitter bomb. Yeah, don't let it go off in your face. Just shoot them with it instead. I like it. Excellent. It's an interesting comparison, that, Joe. You say that the Cizetta's like a combination of the Testarossa and the Diablo GT. You can definitely feel where they got their inspiration from the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis, can't you? I believe Cizetta only made this car. It was like a one-shot car. I think someone recently described it in a video as one of the worst cars in the game, but I don't mind it, personally. I don't mind. It's a bit loose, it's a bit understeery, but it's not a bad car. A very wide line there at Rascasse, very, very wide indeed. And a wide line at Anthony Nogues as well, so not the fastest line there, to be honest. Yeah, you can tell I've watched far too much motorsport when I'm calling out the names. We're coming to Sandoval, and there's no nice little escape road here in Gran Turismo 4. You go straight on, you are becoming a cube. Yes, there's no track limits here, my friends. Abuse the track limits here and you're straight into the wall. Round the Hotel de Paris, into Massenet, and then round into Casino Square. Heel right to avoid the grid as we head into Mirabeau. Site where Nico Rosberg famously cheated, lost control of his car in qualifying. And then we're coming into what's now known as the Fairmont Hotel. At the time it would have been known as the Lowe's Hairpin. Portier 1, try and clip the inside curb, drift wide, and then take the tighter line into the second Portier and into the tunnel. Feel the change in direction as you've got the much closer sound and the wind being filtered through the pillars down the hill into the Nouvelle Chicane. Hard on the brakes to try and get through the first part of the corner, go too close to the wall, brake your car, game over. Short blast down to back. Normally this corner here, would you believe, is a car park. How the hell they managed to fit cars in there when it's not a weekend, you tell me, as we're into the swimming pool chicane. Even though there is no swimming pool in this game, it's not been coded in. And then finally, the Rascasse Hairpin, named after the Rascasse Cafe on the inside of the corner. Apparently, you can get a coffee there on race weekend for something silly like €5,000. for Anthony Noakes, and we're going to finish across the line. Drifting. So what's our price for this tournament going to be? It's something like a 1950s Fiat Uno or something like that? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what car we get for this one, to say the least. Well, don't forget, of course, the poll is open in the community tab for the next game we play after we complete one of the next games that's coming up. And so far, we do have one game out in front. There is one game currently leading, but you still have 5 days to change the result if you've not kind of... Oh, we're on the sports car course here at Infineon, so we're doing the full course. That could be interesting. And when I say there's one game out in front, I'm actually saying they're only just in front. It's pretty much a three-way tie at the moment. There's only one vote in it from last time I checked. Right, it's time for me to try and pull away now that I'm in the lead. Thing is, this car doesn't like tight corners and it doesn't like changes of elevation. Two things Infineon has in both spades. No more commonly as serious points for those of you in America. Beautiful, that'll do. And going way too deep there, but just about held it on the island to go back around the corner. Fantastic. Seems that we're going to finish quite far ahead unless we get too cocky and screw it up, which we've done before, so I'm not making that mistake again. That felt really good then, actually. That line felt absolutely awesome. Whereas that line felt a bit more skittish, shall we say. Oh, what the hell? I think I clipped an invisible wall or got too close to the wall. Yeah, that's not the way you're supposed to take this course, people. What I've just done there was very much a abuse of the track limits. And I deserve to be hauled up in front of the stewards for that one, to say the least. So, we are in the clear. We've managed to do it. Excellent. So what car are we going to get for this prize, I wonder? Hopefully something rather cool. Here we go. What have we got? We have... Oh, hello! The Alfa Romeo 155 2.5 V6 touring car. Very, very nice. That was one of the kings in Gran Turismo 2. You'd be able to use it in quite a lot of races. That's an awesome prize. Legendary. That's a cracker. That's a proper prize. I love that. That's amazing. Now, we've got the Euro Hot Height. There's no way I can do them with Amelia. No way. The races are all stupidly long. You have to go to 1970 anyway, but that'd be a series all by itself, believe me. I mean, I don't even got a car. I don't think I've even got a car that qualifies for that. Out of curiosity, have I got any car up to 1970 that qualify? Even if I wanted to. It has to be European as well, so... That's not going to work. That's the Japanese one. That's American. That's German. Yeah, let's enter in the Daimler motor carriage. 1 horsepower. Yeah. 1,000 miles at 1 horsepower. No. The Honda S500, that's a Majag E-Type. Could that do the job? Could it realistically hold up? And then there's the Ginetta G4, which is quite a nice looking car, actually. It's a very short car. Whereas, going back to my Jag. Well, it's 1961. Dare I do it? Dare I look at how long one of these races are? Out of curiosity. Would it even be possible? I get the feeling this will be one to check out, and if there's no way of doing it, it'd be a case of let's retire. Check the regulations first. Yep, they all count, but it's standard or sports tyres only. Wow. Oh, 25 laps at the Nürburgring. Wow. 95 laps, 99 laps, and then 35 laps at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Dare I try it? Dare we do it, people? Dare we try to win the longest series in the game, or one of? Is it even possible? It says, hang on, this is a challenging long distance because this is a famous Japanese and American... Then why is this in the European style event if it's Japanese and American cars? Am I the only one seeing this? It's the European. Why is that even a thing? I get the feeling the car's not been going to be competitive. Out of curiosity, is there a horsepower limit? No, there isn't. Right, let me see if I can do anything to soup it up beyond what I've already got in it. Because realistically, I'm going to need a lot more pace. I've got a racing exhaust, so I can't use that. I've got racing brakes. Engine. Oh, I can put a stage 3 in to give it an extra 60 horsepower. That'll help. I'm not giving it nitrous. I'm not doing that. That's silly. It's a British car. You don't put nitro in it. Drivetrain. Right, let's upgrade the car. Let's do that before we do anything. Yeah, I don't know if that's a prize card, unfortunately, Joe. If it is a prize card, then I might have to try and find one. But I'm just curious to see if it's even going to be competitive. But let's soup the car up first. Let's give it a fair shot. Yes, let's spend hundreds of thousands of credits. Because the problem is, how often will we have to pit? That's the problem. I mean, I'd put on sports hards. Would have to wear hard tyres. Absolutely no doubt about it. Hards are going to be absolutely important. Let's even take the weight out of the car. Let's do everything we can. I love that progress bar. Now what I'm doing here is I'm able to actually remove bits from the car, but you can actually change them. In the modern Gran Turismo games, once you modify a car, that's it, it's stuck. You can't change it back. Now people might say that's more realistic, but for me, I find it limits the choice of the player. We're playing a game. You can call it a simulator as much as you like, but that's getting a bit silly. Okay, well, I've not any objections, so I want to see just how out of my class this car is going to be here. Let's give it a try. I can't see this going well, but we shall try. We can qualify, but it's the Nordschleifer and there's 25 laps. Looking at the cars, there's a Corvette in it. It could be interesting to see how we go. Let's quickly, before I do anything actually, gear ratios. I am not getting stuck with low gear ratios. Yet, no. Absolutely not. We've got straights that are literally a mile long. We will run out of revs far too soon. Let's give it a try. Only a 1.8 spec apparently, so according to this, it should that would tell me it's easy to win. But we shall see. Get ready for true endurance, people. I have a Jag. We're going for 1,000 miles in a Jag. This is going to be the rest of the stream, by the way, driving my Jag. We're probably going to be on well past the time I want to be, but I'll drive a Jag. Gotta say, this is fun to drive on the circuit. It's so planted and smooth. I'm actually really liking the driving of it. It's the best of British versus the best of the Americans. And they blocked me off, caused an accident. No big deal. I can deal with that. See you later. So here we go. This is a real test. It's a test of endurance. And this will be the next 4 parts of the stream, by the way, people. We will be doing 1 race at a time, I think. My only concern is the rear tyres. That's literally my concern now. I'm having to drive this car in a very different style to how I'm used to. So I'm trying to do everything I can to minimise wheel spin. I was doing some terrible wheel spin then, which looks great, sounds great, but it's not great. The problem is, with this track being so long as well, it's hard to know if you've actually got a decent gap. That's the problem with it as well. It's really difficult to know how far ahead you are. Of course, Jaguar won Le Mans winners back in the 1950s, so this is kind of its element. Yeah, I've got a bit of time already on him. I've got a good few seconds. As you say, yeah, it's going to be each race for a stream. You're not wrong. That's right. The next 4 streams are going to literally be these races back to back to back to back to back. That's what it's going to be. Like 99 laps of the Côte d'Azur, that's going to be a real endurance race. 99 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix. That's going to be a real challenge to get through. And all you people out there watching, believe me, that's a soporific prospect for you all. Yeah, this is more like it. A little bit of a light dab of the brakes then, because I don't trust this car at high speed. Because it's not aerofoiled like a proper racing car, so you don't get the same amount of grip from the car, and that's okay, because the most important thing now is that we try and build a gap. Yeah, that Jag is pretty fast. You're not wrong, actually. Do you mind awfully if I go out in front? Because it's okay, because I have a Jag. I know that you're in here for a spot of adultery and a spot of petty theft. I'm here for a bit of tax evasion, and it's all okay because I've got a Jag. Popcorn's one of the few snacks your beagle doesn't like, Avian. Memo to me for when I come back to Canada next year, bring lots of popcorn. Stomped on the gas way too hard then. That's the only problem with this car. It's got a lot of rear wheel power, and it's therefore generating a lot of wheel spin. So I'm having to really try and be patient with the throttle. Not that that's a bad thing, because it's teaching me about driving. Martin Brundle describes it as driving as if you've got an egg under your front pedal. Yeah, this is going to be one of those races where I think we're going to have like three pit stops before we actually get the before we get the fuel in. The Jag, I believe it did race in real life, but I don't know if it raced anything like this. It probably took part in the actual event that's inspired by. Because of course, for those of you who don't know, 1,000 miles is actually a real race. It was called the Amelia, and Sterling Moss won it multiple times. Meanwhile, good evening to Irish the Jag, to see you jump in saying hello. Must have just caught having a light bulb on when you watched the movie, did you? Ah, okay, that's pretty cool. So you're cosplaying as Porsche Crystal. Don't know the character, but that sounds kind of cool there. That's fantastic. Yep, so here we are. We're heading at a very high speed here. We're up at nearly 180 miles an hour in a car from 1961. Just to prove, just because it's old doesn't mean it's slow. Oh, yeah, but it's also not very controllable as well. When you hit the grass, you're not going anywhere. Still, this is good because it's giving me a decent par time. I might be able to finish the lap in less than 8.5 minutes. And if I can do that on sports hard tyres and get it consistently, we'll be in a good position. Ah, that's annoying, Avian. You had a treat that got away from your Beagle, and then suddenly boom. Right, that's the kind of gap we've got, about 18 seconds so far. So if I do that again, I might have enough time for a pit stop at the end of this lap, because tyres are going to be critical on this race. This is all about tyre stops. I like the smoothness of this car. It feels so smooth to drive. I'm actually really amazed that the Jag is holding up so well, because this is a very hard tournament to win. I really hope the prize car is worth it. Speaking of prize cars being worth it though, apparently there's a mod that's been made for this game in the way I'm playing it, where the prize cars are randomised. So you could go into the Sunday Cup and out of nowhere win something like a Toyota GT1. Could you imagine that? You went to the Sunday Cup in a Nissan Micra and you come out with the Toyota GT1 Le Mans car. It'd be the most ridiculous thing in the world. I've seen people play like Resident Evil 1 Remake on Steam using a mod that randomises the game. And you have all the doors lead to different areas of the mansion, and the items are all over the place. And the game just becomes an absolute clusterfuck. Yeah, my second gear is generating a lot of wheel spin. That's part of the problem. So when I'm in second gear, I've got to avoid hitting high revs. The other gears all seem to be like quite planted and like quite balanced on the power. Oh god, imagine that. Yeah, 24 hours of Le Mans and you win like the pink Vitz or the Fiat Panda. You're not wrong, Joe. And I think that's the thing as well. That's the downside to it. You could do the 24 hours of Le Mans or 24 hours of an Nordschleifer and come out with something like, say, a Vauxhall Astra or something like that. So at this rate, I might be able to risk a third lap. If I can do that, that'll be massively important, because it'll mean I'll only have to stop 8 times. Oh god, Avian, yes. You go all the way through the 24 hours of Le Mans and get the Daimler-Benz Motorwagen. By the way, at some point, I'm going to actually do that as a stream for a laugh. I'm going to take the 1886 Patent Benz Motorwagen around the Nordschleifer. I'm going to find a way to do it. I'm actually going to do that one time as a video. I know that the Ford Model T Tourer can do it in 16 minutes. I did that once. What's the 1886 car like, Alistair Jack? Avian, Joe, remind Alistair Jack what happened when I tried to take it round Laguna Seca. Remind him, please. Show beats tell on that one. But since I don't know what part of the streaming series it was to show you, I'll just have to get people to tell you instead. It was funny, Alistair Jack. It was very funny. Ah, sweet Avian, you said a game you want to be played is winning the poll. That's fantastic. Yeah, when Avian says we were going backwards, by the way, Alistair Jack, the reason for that is that I did not have enough power to get over the hill. I actually couldn't get over the hill. I physically couldn't complete the hill. There's a poll in the community tab, Alistair Jack, for the next game that I'm playing after I complete either Wild Arms 2 or Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2. The only reason I'm saying it's those games, because I'll be very surprised if I complete Gran Turismo 4 before either of those, given the amount of events I've still got to even try to do. Like this series already, Mila Amelia is going to take the next 4 streams up. Dare I risk another lap? Or do I cut my losses on this one and just try to see if I can use better driving for the next time? I'm not in the orange, so I might just get away with it. Thanks to this straight here, I make an absolute load of time on my opponents, as long as I can keep tyres in the car. You can see how far behind me they are. They're very far behind. Because this car is... I'm surprised it's as OP as it is. I didn't think it would be this good. But I'm amazed. I say the E-Type Jag is doing a fantastic try. That's true, Avian, yeah, but it's still very early in the race, so if it does go wrong, I can make the time up. That's probably not a bad call, actually. Make hay while the sun shines, go risky now, and then if it does go wrong, I've got time to catch up. You're probably right. I always trust my race engineers on the pit wall. So I'm having to concentrate more than I normally would driving this, even though I'm not going that fast. Oh, that wasn't a good idea. I was talking about concentrating and I paid too little attention to my gas. That was a very big mistake. To be fair to Ferrari's pit crew, Joe, they actually did a fantastic job yesterday. Me and my mate were like, what on earth are they doing? But they made the strategy that was on the Saturday. They made the strategy work that none of us saw coming. Massive kudos to them. They proved me wrong. Right, apparently I've got a minute lead at the moment after only 2 and a bit laps, so as long as I can keep my tyres in, which is a big ask. I'm looking at the rear wheels. The front wheels are fine. The front wheels I could probably get away with not even changing. But there's no point, there's no benefit. I might as well get fresh tyres. When you drive an old car like this, you have to remember that your engine is very front heavy, so you're having to constantly adjust for the dip in the car because the weight balance just isn't there compared to a modern machine, and that's part of the challenge of driving these old cars. Those tyres are looking very, very fragile indeed. Right, that was the first sign of any issues with the braking then. I could feel the car getting a bit squirrely. Can you hear the squealing? Because the issue with this strategy is it's such a long lap. When you call the pit stop, you call it wrong and do an extra lap. It's not just 14 miles. It's 8 to 10 minutes. So this is a huge economy run for me. Sorry guys, 1 second. The Mercedes 3300 SL would actually be a good car for it, the Gullwing. You're probably right. I think you're probably correct on that one, Joe. Whoa. That was the wrong time to take a drink. That was completely the wrong time to take a drink. Yeah, we're just on the cusp of being drivable here. See how I dip to the right then? That's because the tyres are deep in the danger zone. So I'm going to lose a lot of time here. But it's been worth the experiment. I'm going to have to drive on 3/4 throttle now, I think. Yeah, I'm getting the sailboat approach. I'm literally sliding. It doesn't matter if they get past me, it's a question of where they get past me. I know what's done this. It was my driving on the first lap. Embrace the wall right there to save a bit of tyre work. I'll answer your question, Joe, when I've got back to the pits, because these tyres are shot and I'm really going to struggle to get back to the pits. It was a bad call. I thought I'd save a couple of pit stops, but it's clear that the pace differential is just too big. The only reason I say I'll get your question after that is because it's quite a long question, so I'll need to take some time to read it. The good thing is they're not even at the carousel yet. So I do have that advantage. I've gone through the forest section by the time they're even at the carousel. So there is that advantage to me. I think they're struggling just as badly as I am. Because this might be one of those races where the computer does less pit stops but goes really slowly. It's after a long straight and then you got the dip under the bridge to the right and it's at the chicane. You turn into the pits instead of going through the chicane. But you can see the tyres now. The tyres are absolutely dead. The part of the problem, Avian, is the tyres, they wear out because of the pace that's going through them. But it's not just that, it's the fact that when you've got a rear wheel car, it's rear wheel drive, so a lot of power is being put through the back wheels, and because they're not racing tyres, they're designed so they're not designed to be as grippy, they don't spread the load as well. So because they don't have the same what's called contact patch of a slick or semi-slick tyre, they don't quite have the same ability. So in a straight line, I'm doing okay, but I'm going to have to brake very early here. So this has cost me quite a lot of time, but it's okay because I'm still miles ahead of the driver behind. So it's clear that my laps early on did the damage, and that's fine. But you see, I'm having to practically freewheel load, and even then, trying to freewheel, the car just wouldn't turn. But the pits are coming up any moment now, and he's only just coming to the end of the straight, so there's still a chance here. Yeah, full service please, that'll do. Right, yeah, so Joe, our Hogs of War, if I have any plans to play that game in the future, it could be an interesting stream to do actually, that. It could be quite interesting. It'd be a good way to pay homage to the legendary Rick Mail. See, I'm still miles ahead, even with that extra stop. Oh, that's a terrible place to give you control. That's one of the worst places they could have given control. That is bad. Now you see, because I've got the tyres on now, if I'm careful on the throttle, I might be able to make 3 laps work from here. I think part of the problem was that in the first lap I was wheel spinning a lot of the time, and I took crucial life out of the tyres. If I can be a little more economical with the throttle and make it wheel spin less, I might be able to take a load of time out of the field. I say the thing is, it's because we're having to use old cars on normal to sports tyres. So the tyres just aren't designed to maintain a lot of life. They're not designed for it. So you have to constantly be on the gas, but you have to be really, like I say, Martin Brundle describes it as driving like you've got an egg under your front wheel, your front right foot, and that's the way to do it. You have to be taking it really gentle, and it's not something that's very easy to do because you're too used to mashing the power in this game. I actually quite like it. It's a good challenge. It's teaching me another skill set in driving. You see there how I had very little wheel spin? That made a lot of difference, and the tyres, you can see already, they're massively different. They've still got the blue sheen, so it's only going to take a little bit of control like that, with a little more carefree approach, and we can have a better average lap speed. So I think average lap speed is going to be important here. And again, you get to see me suffer for an actual... I'm having to actually think, I'm having to control. And you see, the modern Gran Turismo game, this series would be perfect as a long-form championship for the player in career. A 20-car grid doing 1,000 miles with save points. You know, it writes itself. They've got so many classic cars in the modern game that you can't do anything with. Put a series like this back in. Bring back the 1,000 miles. Everyone's saying they want more races with longer content and like endurance races and everything else. Polifone, you did it in 2004 with the 1,000 miles. Bring the Mille back. For the next stream on this, by the way, I might see if I can find some old, like, racing driver goggles and do, like, some old 1960s period racing dress for you all. See if I can find some. And some contact lenses. But yeah, you can definitely see the strategy come into play now because of the tyres. The tyres are in much better condition, which might make a three lap pit stop strategy possible. And if that's the case, we're onto a winner. Oh no! Can't use 1960s slang, Avian. 1960s racing slang was very, very full of machismo and very sexist. Can't be doing that. I'm not Dark Side Phil. Fish in a barrel, I know. Our gap has already been restored, and I don't think they've been into the pits. Now if they've not been into the pits, that shows that they're going to do a lot less pit stops than me, but my pace is so much higher. This is very much a tortoise versus hare race, this. So wrong people, just trying to readjust my position. So you know when I said that I was going to try and be more controlled in my throttle and avoid wheel spin? Yeah, not like that. the edge, and on we go. The Jag is so much fun to drive. I'm really liking this car to drive. So now we can really feel the car getting the power down. Unbelievable, we're not even at 20% waste distance yet on this race. This is how long this race is going to take us. It's going to be a long one. We are doing the 1,000 miles. It's a lot of American and Japanese cars, and I've turned up in a Jag. Don't mind me awfully, I know it's meant to be a US-Japanese series, but it's okay because I have a Jag. We've won Le Mans just as much as Ferrari and Ford, so it's fine, we have a Jag. So apologies, this is a very focused stream for you all tonight, but we are in the midst of one of the more challenging race series there is. Being able to go the distance, driving hard. And for those of you who've not seen the stream before, this is a prize cars only challenge as much as possible. And I'm driving the Jaguar E-Type from 1961. Souped up, trimmed out, and very good fun to drive. I'm having a lot of fun driving this car. Of course, I could have done a full Gran Turismo 2 and gone and bought the Ford GT40. Yes, all you people out there who played the Retro Car Cup or whatever event it was in Gran Turismo 2, you're all getting flashbacks and you're all twitching now and you all deserve it, because I was there. I remember trying to take that thing on a Lancia Stratos. It didn't work out very well. You see how much better condition my tyres are in at the moment. GT2 would be difficult for me to do, Joe, because I'd have to do a lot of work on getting the right software to run it at a decent rate on my PC, to be honest. GT2 would be a bit more tricky. And I definitely wouldn't do a PS1 version of the game, as in, like, you know, PS1 hooked up, because the resolution would be awful. But I know that you can do some wizardry in some of the software to run PS1 games to get it to really high quality. We saw that when I did Parasite Eve, and I did that using my laptop. Unfortunately, the files on there don't seem to work in my desktop PC for some reason. So I'm going to have to do some work around. But that'll be an interesting stream in the future. It wouldn't be for now having done GT4. Yep, sorry mate, you're a lap down. Now that should be soul crushing. So I've had someone lap the Nürburgring and lap you with 20% of the distance done. If I did GT2 though, Joe, I'd try and find a ROM for the very first version from the USA and try and do a challenge that Matt J did, which was to beat the Vector M12 in the Trial Mountain Endurance race when that car breaks the horsepower cap by something like 400. The thing about Gran Turismo 2 though is if you really know what you're doing, you can beat the game without ever buying a car, because the license test gold cars are all overpowered. After the first two that you get like, you know, the Spoon S2000 and the Dodge concept car. They're not that great, but then after that you get like the CRX Del Sol Limited Edition, the 3000 GT Limited Edition, the FTO Limited Edition, and most OP of all, the Toyota GT1. So if you actually master the license test, you never have to buy a car. Maybe that's the challenge you all want me to do. Beat Gran Turismo 2 without ever buying a car. Yeah, my tyres are in way better condition thanks to this slightly more conservative driving style. You know, the lack of the like minimised wheel spin approach. It's making a colossal difference. I actually have the confidence to try another lap after all. It has a really interesting car list, you're not wrong, because there's some cars that are unique to it, aren't there? Like the Tommy Kairas and the... what was the other one they had that was really quite unique for the time? All the unusual like 90s BMWs aren't been featured since either. Beat GT2 without upgrading any cars. It's funny you should mention that, Avian. I saw a thumbnail and a video turn up on my YouTube recommendations. Someone suggesting, is it possible to beat Gran Turismo 4 without upgrading your cars? And I'm thinking that could be interesting, depending on what they count as upgrading the car. Because if they count changing the tyres at all as upgrading the car, that could be a colossal challenge. With the likes of the World Championship in the endurance races where you can only use medium tyres, you would really struggle. Oh, what was that? That was rubbish. I was being so conservative on the throttle, I didn't pay attention on the direction. I like it as a suggestion actually, Evan. I think it's a great idea. I do like it actually. It's a cool and interesting challenge. Whoops, we're in for it now. Too late. I've missed the pits. So here we go. And we start by going off the circuit. because I massively missed my braking point. So we're going over to the inside. Yeah, my tyres are yellow here, so I'm probably going to get away with this. And if that's the case, I've got my strategy for the rest of the race. Because that's Vin Diesel said in Fast and the Furious. Whether you win by an inch or by a mile, winning is winning. Tell you what, that's an interesting idea, that, Joe, to beat the game without any Japanese or American cars. I mean, it's definitely possible, but you might be stuck with that Mercedes CLK GTR as your main car at the top, and that wasn't the best car. I'm trying to think of anything else that would count that's not American near the top. Oh, the Jaguar. If you can get the Jaguar XJR Le Mans car anywhere in price cars, that'd do the job now I think about it, because that was a great car. And the Audi as well, but the Audi Le Mans car, I don't think that's easy to obtain. And the Bentley Speed 8, if that's a prize car at all, but I'm not sure if it is. You won't be able to beat the entire game, so you've got like the Japanese and American events where you can't enter anything but Japanese and American cars. So you won't be able to 100% it, but you'd certainly be able to get enough experience to get to the Gran Turismo World Championship. Yeah, my tyres are holding on a lot better in this stem, all because I've been a lot more economical with the throttle. I went too wide then, but I got away with it. Oh, I got a twitch. I got halfway through the corner, I got a twitch then. But I'm still miles clear of the Chevrolet. I'm absolutely giant miles clear. And now you can see the orange is just starting to appear on the tyres. So you're falling asleep yet, because we're not even near half distance. This is a grueling race. Good, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a nice casual stroll around the Nordschleife. That was quite a nice apex that then, I liked it. Oh, Avian, come on, classic reference. Saying you guessed the Chevy driver didn't get his car to the levee. Amazing. The only problem with that song, and it's not a problem with the song by the way, is that Madonna decided for some reason to cover it, and I've never understood why. I like Madonna, don't get me wrong, but there was no reason to cover Don McLean's classic. There are some songs you should just not cover, and that was one of them. Oh, what's this? I'm actually a connoisseur of Western music. I know, how crazy is that? We're going to be right on the ragged edge of grip here, so I've got to be careful. But we are way faster than the last time we tried this. Yeah, he didn't like it either, Avian. I just thought it was pointless. I don't see why she did it. So we're going into the box on this lap. We're boxing again. It's the second of 8 stops. That's the way we have to treat this. We're doing stints at Le Mans. I'm guessing that's the Beagle that's lying right beside you, Avian. Oh, you'll love it, really. Of course you do. Now, you might wonder why I slowed down there. It was to try to avoid that happening, but I just didn't quite get it to work. Last time we tried going through there, we got stuck on the walls for quite a long time, which was annoying. And we are in for full service, please. My purple Jag. Check out my gorgeous Jag. Right, I'm going to try this time to coast out of the pits. And it worked. I'm a bit too heavy on the throttle, though. I'm not happy with that. It's all about being smooth. As I say, that's the way to really win this. Again, I've no idea where second place is. I've absolutely no idea. I think they've been into the pits, and that's why they've lost a lot of time. But if they've gone all that distance on one stop, and I've still pulled out this gap, that says a lot about the speed of my car. After all, for those of you who are fans of Formula 1, you'll remember when the Ferraris in the year 2003 were able to look, or 2002, whichever year it was, they were able to pull off ridiculous pit strategies because they had very, very fast tyres. So that's why in 2005 the pit stop rule was changed and you had to have your tyres last an entire race distance. It was a way to nerf Ferrari, and it worked, but it also gave us the worst race of all time, Indianapolis 2005, where just 6 cars took to the grid. Oh yeah, I remember it well. That was a pretty poor line, but I got away with it. It was indeed one of the most bizarre moments ever, but then, of course, there was the race at Hungary in 2020. Hold my beer, when Hamilton was the only person on the grid. Nothing will beat that for weird. That's another red car. Watches helplessly as the Jag muscles on by. I must say, going back to Gran Turismo 2, I still find it strange that that's the only place where you can drive Red Rock Valley. That was a weird circuit to be lost to time. You could have easily updated that by adding a whole new loop to it, but nope, it's been stuck on the PS1. Yeah, get comfy, people. We're going to be here for a while. Yeah, Rainbow Valley was a cool circuit, wasn't it? Like, really cool design, very fast, very flowing. Could do all kinds of cool stuff on it. Pity it never came back. It's also the only circuit where you can race Tahiti Road, which I think would have updated really well, you know, with all the classic cars they've got. It's a really nice coastal drive. Hell, Polyphony Digital could have even put one of the music rallies on it. And as shit as they are, it'll at least be nice to see some love to Tahiti Road. So onwards we go again. Onwards to glory. So you can really see the difference that this new slower pace, don't mash the throttle, is making on the circuit. But if it's giving us an extra lap before we have to pit, it's technically giving us an extra 6 minutes, and oh, hello. Well, at least we know the computer has to pit now. Sorry mate, I'm not being held up by you, get out of my way. You're getting to see a full display of what it's like to drive very slowly, essentially, on this circuit. I mean, I could realistically save, like, I could easily aim for 9-minute laps to keep myself out of the pits, if I wanted to. I reckon that would be more than enough to win the race. But I'm having too much fun driving the way I am. You have to think less like a pilot and think more like a driver. I'm not required to be at a certain point in my flight path by this point. If I wanted to do that, I'd be playing a flight simulator. And no, that's not a game for the future. I have not got a flight sim rig. And I'm definitely not doing train simulator either before you all even think about it. Bus simulator can also kiss my sphincter. And desert bus is an instant no. Don't even ask for that to go on the poll. It's not happening. Oh God, fishing simulator. The only thing worse to watch than that is someone play golf. Ah, the old TIE Fighter games with the joysticks. I remember on the microcomputers, they were great. Although the joysticks back in those days were faulty as anything, they were so bad. And Duck Hunt, yes. And our arcade club in the UK actually have Duck Hunt, I think. If you ever come to England, Davian, let me know, I'll take you. In fact, sing us for anyway, if anyone comes to England and wants to hang out, let me know. Oh, I caught that car at the wrong time. It was right in the middle of the racing line. Not what I needed. But it's okay, we'll hang it on. Yeah, buggy as hell, controls wonky, you're not wrong. You can see the speed that we're carrying through these corners pretty well in this car. I'm quite impressed with the traction. Considering we're on, as I say, sports tyres, it's somewhat refreshing at just how much grip there is. I'm liking it. Oh, absolutely no. We're not playing truck racing ever again, Avian. That game is nixed to the banished to the black hole. That is never being played again. That was such an awful game. That was shovelware of the worst kind. It was terrible. No, Joe. No. Absolutely not. Not a chance. When you say I played the game truck racing, I was on the New Year's stream. It was the roulette throw. That was the one time that PS Plus roulette let me down, big time. But as you can see, we're not even a third of the way through the race, and it's more than an hour already. Get comfortable, people. There's going to be at least 2 more hours of driving here. At least 2 more hours. Well, the thing is, Avian, there's one problem with the roulette stream. When I did it, the PS Plus Classics had the PlayStation 3, along with the 1, 2, 4 and 5 games. But Sony have decided in their infinite wisdom to move the PS3 games over to the streaming section. So if you go to Classics now, it doesn't show the PlayStation 3 ones. So roulette would lose the PlayStation 3 games. And that'd be the most interesting point, because there's very few of them I played for one very simple reason. I didn't have a PlayStation 3. I was Xbox 360. And so because I was Xbox 360, I didn't get to experience a lot of the games at that time. So it's been interesting for me to see how the PS3 titles look. And sometimes they're kind of cool, and other times they're not so cool, depending on the games. So yeah, so as much as I'd like to do the roulette stream, it'd be kind of hard unless I literally said, right, this is going to be a PS3 only version or something like that. Or, you know, like mix and match it between each game, but it'd be kind of tricky to do. It's not a bad idea, it might be something to do in the future, but it's not immediately planned, I'm afraid. Unless Sony can fix the PS3 emulation and put them back in the classic selection. There's been rumours they've been working on it for a while, but I don't believe it. Personally, I don't see why Sony just don't license PCS3, which is available online for free and can actually make some games upscale to 4K. Just do that. I mean, you've seen how good Gran Turismo 4 is looking here on a PlayStation 2 emulator, upscaled. Why not do that for everything else? DT Racer, I can't say I've heard of that, no. But oddly enough, Joe, I did once see in a CEX a game for 50 pence that I was going to buy out of morbid curiosity, which was a weird futuristic racing game designed by Jacques Villeneuve. Yes, that's right. The former Formula 1 world champion and IndyCar champion has a PlayStation 2 game with their own fictional racing series design. I am not making that up. At some point I should also do the Midnight Club games. They'd be kind of cool from what I've seen. And the Tokyo... There's loads of racing games I want to do. I say I'm a bit of a connoisseur of racing games. I've played that many across the eras of history. Yeah, we're on course to pit as usual on the third lap. Oh! That's not going to help. That's going to take a lot of grip away from the tyres. That was a very, 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 very big mistake. I got away with that. Yes, Joe, I played the first two Colin McRae games on the PlayStation 1 and they were amazing. I understand the ones on the PS2 were great too, but I never got around to playing them. They were great fun. They were awesome. The thing is, Colin McRae rally games, you think it's all about using the Subaru. Me, I dominated in the Ford Escort car RS Cosworth. That was the car I dominated in. Felt the car going then. Once the car starts to go, there's not much you can do. You just got to ride it and hope for the best. Test Drive Unlimited. I don't think I ever played that game. I did play Test Drive Le Mans on the Dreamcast though, and that was awesome. 24 car grids at Le Mans on the Dreamcast. Amazing. I did well to hold that then. Yeah, it was actually good. Test Drive Le Mans on the Dreamcast. Very good game. It ran at 480p and had, as I say, 24 car grids. So it was very, very good. Very ahead of its time in many ways. Right, this time I am actually going to brake super early and try and avoid spinning out. Yeah, that was slow as anything, but it made the difference to get around the corner. Because the tyres can just hang on to the third lap. And we're in. Full service, please. Excellent, there we go. On the gas. Whoops. Now that was brave, right? Kept my foot in it and kept going. How does it feel to be this far into the race, people? We're not even at half distance yet. It's just to show how long this race is, how long this series is, the Amelia Amelia. But you all asked for it, you all wanted to see it, so we're here. The only sad thing is we don't have an Italian track, because that's where it mostly based around. It's like Italian roads, hence the Amelia Amelia. So while we've got Opera Paris, which unfortunately is going to be the next race, and I'm not looking forward to that. 94 laps of Opera Paris, that's going to be an absolute nightmare. I'm not looking forward to that at all. But the actual race at Monte Carlo, that could be quite cool. And then the race at Le Mans will be fantastic. Especially if, because it's the 1970s cars, they have the old Le Mans, where you just have the 4 mile long straight. If that's the case, my car will dominate. A little bit of grass there, why not? Just to freshen things up. Yep, so this is where it's the quiet downstream, this one. Take it nice and smooth as we attempt to get this Jag over the line for the first of the 1,000 mile races. This will be an epic. I say, seeing this series updated for the modern game will be a real revelation. It'd be a challenge, it'd be nice to see full car grids, the amount of different cars you could drive for it, it'd just be nice. Of course, that would also require imagination, and like Polyphony don't appear to have much of that these days. Not quite sure why. They used to always be thinking forward, and instead like focused on stuff that no one really cares about. Like photoscapes and car collecting and museum features, and it's just stuff that no one wants. People just want to play the game. Let's not forget sport mode as well, which has a horrendous player base because no one wants to play it. Excellent, there we go. As it goes on and on, desperately trying to take on the Amelia. I say, I've no idea how far in the lead I am now. I've no idea where second place is. Even assuming it's the car behind me on the map, and I don't think it is because the way it's moving is far too slow. That's got to be at least a 2-minute gap. So I've got a huge gap to play with, which is great because it's allowing me to be able to pull out plenty of distance and more pit stops. Here we go. This is looking very promising indeed. Once we get to the end of lap 13, we'll be halfway through the race, people. Yeah. Well, technically we'll be halfway through the lap 12 we will be, but I'm not counting it. Why? Because it means I can account for the pit stops that way. Continue our march. So there's not much more I can really say here. It's just a matter of just get on with it. That's all we could do. So get your questions in the chat if you have anything you want to ask me. I'll do what I can to get reading them out in between when I'm on the long straights. And I'd say this is just a test of endurance. This is like an endurance series. Like, this is already longer than the final menu book in Gran Turismo 7. And it's probably going to be even longer than the menu book with all the game credits as well. Just to give you an idea of the content that is, at the moment, in my opinion, missing from the modern game, and it's why I prefer playing Gran Turismo 4. Yes, Gran Turismo 4 has worse graphics. Yes, the car physics aren't as good. Yes, the track selection could improve. But I have a lot more fun playing it, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, you feel there's more passion, Joe. I agree. It's like there's less sense of like trying to prove features, which so again, it's like, you know, there's so much focus now on things like the photography mode and things like, you know, the sport mode and the livery editors and everything else. That the actual essence of the game, the thing that most people play it for, is missing. There's a reason why the first 4 games are known endearingly as car PGs, because you're literally doing the same thing. You start out with practically no money, you start out with no real skills or knowledge, and you have to get really shoddy second-hand cars, take them to events and try and outclass and slowly but surely get your knowledge of the circuits, get your knowledge of the economy in the game, and be able to upgrade your cars and invest wisely in them. That's a good question actually, Avi. What's my final strategy for the end of the race? A lot of it's going to depend on how far I am ahead. If I'm miles ahead, I'll probably, if anything, switch to two-stop strategies, two-lap strategies right at the end. You don't have to, you can keep pitting, you keep driving as long as you like, but obviously the tyres will fall away from you. So I'm actually pushing the absolute limit by going for 3 laps. And it's a bit consistent, it's possibly a bit tedious to watch, but it's one way to keep my car from needing to sit in the pits for too long. I can either burn my tyres up and go into the pits every 2 laps, or I can lap 20 or so seconds a lap slower and gain 6 minutes overall by not having to pit as frequently. And that's racing. Racing's all about your strategy and how you can like win the race at the most economical approach. I remember Niki Lauda once said that the best way to win a Grand Prix is as slow as possible. You know, it's like your job is to get in front and stay in front. Well, for 1 lap, I don't know if the sports softs will last. They might do. It could be a good laugh to see just how fast the car can go on sports softs. Because, I mean, at the current trajectory, we will be stopping on lap 24. So 1 lap on the options could be a real laugh, just to see how much pace we've got in the car. But we're getting ready. We're not far off half distance now. We've got 1 more lap to go. So we're flying down the main straight. No idea where the opposition are. They could be as long as 4 minutes behind me now. I honestly don't know. I'm going to take this slightly slower here, just so I can get my tyres in a better zone. Have less loading through the tyre and give me more distance on the lap, because if I can go a bit faster on the lap, it will be better for me. Taking a nice wide line to try and maximise the grip in the car. The idea there was to try and keep the car on the ground as much as possible to avoid jumping, and that way we'd potentially have more speed in the car because we've got more contact with the road. On the brakes nice and early. Off we go, down towards the next part of the race. Sorry guys, 1 second, need to quickly stretch my legs. Apologies. And no, Joe, that wasn't me trying to downslide that video I uploaded that you commented on. As I said before, I will not look anywhere near as good in that dress. Gotta be careful here. I've had a couple of times now I've heard that revving get a bit too fat, a bit too much. I can't afford to over-rev the tyres. Over-revving the tyres will take away the grip I need in that final sector. On we go. Okay, good, good, good. Tyres are just about going to hang on with any luck. But we need to be careful here. This is the strategy. Just think, this is the precursor to the next stream, people. What is 94 laps in a row? Oh, yeah. Bet you're all looking forward to that, aren't you? You should be. Yeah, we're going to be on a long time here, people. We're going to be on till nearly midnight my time. Which means it's going to be fun going to work in the morning, but hey ho, I'll manage. So we're into the box in a second. Yeah, here we go, and we are in. So on go the sports hard tyres. You can definitely see how the front tyres, I daren't risk mixing and matching for medium hards. I just don't think the mediums will last long enough. So as annoying as it is, we've just got to have the front rubber not as damaged, but you know, that's racing really at the end of the day. So there we go. I deliberately took that wide then because I wanted to ensure that I didn't get myself right into the wall. Yeah, here we go. So we're on our way now to half distance. We just got to keep going. Yep, so here we go. Get on the gas and hit with flow. We are on our way. So with races like this, you just have to be prepared to like sit back and count the laps down and slowly focus on your race. You have to be very calm, very focused. Oh, okay, Joe, something came on your mind. What was it? Is there anything you want to chuck in the chat box? Feel free, it's what it's there for. Who said if you want to go fast, first you have to know how to go slow? That sounds like one of those kind of like wizened sage driver comments from someone like, I don't know, that'd be all about learning car control. So it won't surprise me if Jackie Stewart said something like that with James May when he taught him how to drive at Alton Park in the TVR Tuscan 6. I'm just trying to think of it'd be somewhat, imagine it'd be some kind of driver coach somewhere. It could also be something like, you know, one of these, like, you know, joke comedy movies like Talladega Nights or something like that. It's not quite as familiar with me, I'm sorry to say. As we take a drive around the Nürburgring. I'd be interested to know who it is, Joe, so you have to let me know what the results tell you. Assuming it's one that's not a Mandela effect where you think it's something that's said that wasn't. Have I got to lap this guy again? I think I do, you know. I had to use part of the grass, but I did it. I had like 2 wheels on the circuit. That time I didn't. No worries. Here we go. Keep it going. Keep your motivation. We're seeing this through, people. We are using the Jag. Take a brief toe off you, and down we go. We are straight lining, aiming for 180. Excellent, so we've got a decent grip through that corner as we head towards the double hairpin again. Oh, that wasn't good. I gassed too soon then. I got a load of rear wheel spin, so that's not good. Yeah, so interestingly enough, speaking of like the Nordschleife and anything else though, I actually found for Xbox 360 for a mere £1 the game Project Gotham Racing 4. So essentially a old school game for the Xbox 360 which had multi-class racing. So that might be a game of Diggle for stream at some point. That was a game that I've not played properly. I played it in the store once, driving the Caparo T1, I think it was. That's as far as I ever got. If you can't find it, don't worry, Joe, it's cool. It sounds like one of those sage wooden comments you'd find. And I think that might be second place's car. Unbelievably, I'm coming up to lap the second place. This is going to mean I'm more than 8 minutes ahead of anybody else. I am a lap in front on the Nürburgring. I've just lapped the field. Oh, that's a good one, yeah. David Coulthard, third comment here, found by Joe. Every racing driver has balls, but none of them are made of crystals. To be fair though, his jawline was made of fucking granite, has to be said. Would you want to punch that? Oh. No, I didn't turn off my camera. Right, sorry, give me a second, guys. I don't know why it's done that. Right, give me a second. I don't know what's gone on there. I'm going to have to do something here. Sorry, guys. One moment. You're watching me do this editing live here, people. Here's some live editing for you. Don't know what's happened there. I even tried deactivating and reactivating, but the system was going no dice. So there we go. Right. How very strange, because while I was looking up my, I've actually got my camera on a ring light up ahead of me, and it had the blue ring around to say it's been detected. So I don't know why it did that. I have no idea what that was about. I apologise for that, people. Very strange technical glitch there. I don't know what caused that, so I do apologise. Although you probably all thought, hey, the screen's improved, his face isn't there anymore, we don't have to watch his ugly mug. Oh, that's an interesting one. Ari Vatanen, I think he was a rally driver, wasn't he? Saying, in life you can raise your hand but not your foot. I mean, for a motorsports driver, keeping a heavy right foot is very important. Being able to make sure that you always have that positional play. So, I think that we're probably going to get lapped by the Corvette, but we'll be able to go straight past it again. And we're in a position now to absolutely dominate this race. Oh, I've just gone fast. I expect to set a new fastest lap. That's surprising. I'm surprised by that, given I stopped halfway through to do a camera setting change. Ah, nice doing a bit of writing, are you, Avian? I need to do some writing for a story I started. I had an idea. And it was kind of cool, but I don't know where to take it. I hate it when I do that. I need to sit down and actually plan a story out properly. Give myself a goal to aim for. Hey, Avian, you have to do what's right for you. And if you want to do some writing, get that writing done. The letter can wait. If you have the book to get some writing done, get it down. Get writing. We all have a different muse. Mine's a guy, I just have to get used to it. Most people think of a muse as, like, you know, a woman who comes in and tells them what to do. I don't, mine's a dude. Oh, well, surprise Queen's there, saying, yes, they would prefer the letter being picked up at that time. Well timed, David. Very well timed. Good evening to you, Queen. How are you doing? Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. I've been driving for 2 hours. We have started a series of championship on this race called the 1,000 Miles. And every single race is very long because you have to use a car from 1970 or earlier. So I'm in an E-Type Jag. I'm driving a Jag. Avian, it's not a purple toga. It's a brown one. My muse isn't that inspired. But I'd probably pay more attention to him if he wore a purple toga. I mean, to be fair, I've heard of muses who are really violent and drag their writers into the thing to get things written. I've heard that story before. So, Queen, your muse is Johanna. Got it. No wonder you like Makoto in Persona 5 so much. Those poor bunnies. Your muse deserves to be put in the stocks for that avian. Throwing bunnies around. The only way it could be worse if they were throwing kitties at you. Actually, don't throw kitties at me or Queen. We'd stop everything and just sit there petting cats all night. I spent 15 minutes petting a stray cat earlier today. It was lovely. Well, stuffed ones is slightly better, I suppose. Yep, the tyres should just hang on for me to actually go into the pits again, which is what I want. Oh, very twitchy there. Managed to just about catch that slide. Oh, I didn't catch that one, no. Okay, keep going. So, did it turn out like Sakai? It could be worse, though, Avian. Your muse could turn out like Monica. Oh, Sakaki. That makes more sense. Queen, I don't think it really matters if it's Monica or Monaca. Both are a very bad thing to have as your muse. Both will give you bad times, let's be honest here. My tyres are shot. This might be a difficult ask to get back to the pits here, but I'll try and do what I can. That wheel spin there did not help. Yes, unbelievable. We've got another 9 laps to go after this, people. Yeah, that's right. Get comfortable. We're nowhere near done. Yeah, well, the pit lane's just after this straight, Queen. So I'll have enough time to get along enough easily. I should get back to the pits without a problem. What I've got to be careful of is right now, I'm going to have to really slow down. Normally this corner's a little king, you can take at quite a high speed. But with the tyres as they are, it's just not going to happen. And that's fine, I'm okay with that. I'd much rather have a slow in lap than a no in lap at all. Yeah, there's one for you, Joe. I'd rather have a slow in lap than no in lap. So on go the tyres, full service please. I might as well let the fuel carry on. By the time the tyres are done, the fuel goes in anyway, so it means that I don't have to worry about fuel. And in this game, light fuel loads don't seem to affect the car's handling for some strange reason. It wasn't quite that able to simulate. Excellent, I managed to stay a lap ahead of second place. So this race is now purely about me having the stamina to get through and stick to my pit stop strategy. Because the idea is to go in at the end of lap 18, then the end of lap 21, and then the end of lap 24, and that will be the end of the race. So we're probably on for about another hour and 15 minutes, I reckon. Yes, people, that's right. An hour and 15 minutes to do 9 laps. That's the magic of the Nordschleife. There we go. Nice gentle put through there. By going gently through those corners, I wasn't leaning on the tyres. If you lean on the tyres, you make them wear out very quickly. And when the lap's as long as this, that can be critical between you making back to the pits or not. Any of you remember when I tried to take the Lotus round on mediums, will tell you that. Yes, Joe, I don't apologise for winning. That's the Australian cricket team for the decidedly unsportsman dismissal of Johnny Bairstow yesterday. That's the Aussies for you. And as for me, Queen, I'm fine. Just neck deep in a very, very long, tiring race. And the best thing is, this is the first of 4 races in this championship. Fortuitously, if I'm not, you should be able to back out and it'll do an auto-save. Remember, you're in the championship. So there's 3 more races as long as this. It's called the 1,000 Miles, known originally as the Melia, but they've actually not got the license to use that name. Because believe it or not, there was actually a game on the PlayStation 1 called Melia with the bathtub cars. There's just one problem. They didn't actually code in the 1,000 Miles. It's just race on tracks inspired by it. When you say you got to prep for your overnight shift, Queen, does that mean you're not getting sleep or anything like that? Because that's a big ask. I've done it before, obviously, for when I did the 24-hour stream. So it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, but that's not going to be not going to be nice to get used to, it must be said. Oh, come on, Joe. What have I done to deserve an oh boy now? What have I done the oh boy for? That's fair, Queen. Yeah, going to bed around 6 a.m. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. Kimi Raikkonen at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2012 when he was driving for Lotus. Inspired inspired T-shirts and mugs and everything else. It was a brilliant moment. That was when Kimi was like, "I'm a former world champion. Will you kindly shut up?" Interesting, Queen. You're one of the few people who actually looks forward to an overnight shift. If I had an overnight shift in my job, the only reason I'd have it is if I was dealing with a lot of claims in East Asia or in Australia. That's the only benefit. I think everyone misses Kimi in a way, Joe. He just had that much more suave style, the much more get no-nonsense approach. I remember when he was interviewed by Top Gear and Jeremy Clarkson was like, "The Stig was telling me that one time he was at the Monaco Grand Prix and he walked into a party and nearly tripped up because someone had passed out on the floor right beneath him." And Kimi went, "Oh yeah, that was me," basically. But heart and soul of the party, Kimi Raikkonen. He was legendary. Still is, but he's obviously not in F1 anymore. Absolutely savage. He was a legend. Absolutely awesome. I think the interview can still be found on YouTube, so it's worth digging up and watching. It's such a good one. That's so cool that you're planning to go back and work on that story, Evan. I remember reading it years ago and I really liked it. Great concept. Be a really good short story for somewhere. Well worth going back to, so I look forward to seeing what you do with it. And yeah, the overnight shifts. I used to have manuals way back in the day, factories, 12-hour nights. They were not fun, to say the least. Say, working manual shifts overnight is no one's idea of fun, people. It is not fun. All you people out there, I used to work in a grocery store doing the overnight shelf filling. Oh, it was murder. I hated it. Oh, this is looking very good, very promising indeed. We're getting towards the final stretch, people. Can you believe it? We're getting there. It's going to take us time, but we're going to have to work at it. So this is definitely one of the more challenging race series to do on an A-Spec front. As I say, Polyphony, why have you not brought championships like this back? A championship like this where you get multi-million credits, people would love playing it. Because it's a fresh challenge, it's something new. Not everyone wants to keep doing the Tokyo Expressway Le Mans grind. Give people more races. Oh, yeah, no. Sleeping during the day, yeah, that was my worst part of doing nights routinely. I had to do it for one period of my life, Queen, and it was horrible. I hated it. Because it was impossible to get sleep during the day. Because, especially during the summer period, you practically never saw the sun go down. And in winter, on the other hand, you never saw the sun come up. You were a pit pony, as it was known. It was dark when you went to work, it was dark when you came back. For those of you who wonder what I mean by pit pony, by the way, it's an old British mining term for the ponies that used to pull the cars underground in the coal mines. Back when we used to be a mining nation. And Joe, working in a foundry overnight, hot, sweaty, far too bright, and then you go home and it's daylight. That'd be awful. If you know someone who does that and they manage to stick out, then massive respect to them. I simply couldn't do it. No way in hell. Excellent. Well, it won't just be heat, it'll be also there's fumes and everything else. There was a time, Joe, I didn't work nights, but I worked for a company in the UK. And what we used to make were the foam seats that go inside cars. So basically, you know, it was for like companies like Jaguar and that basically. So it's kind of ironic now I'm driving a Jag tonight. And I used to spend 12 hours at a bench wearing a chainmail metal glove. And what I used to do was have a buffing tool, and all I had to do was literally sand down the edges of car seats to make them compliant. And the amount of dust and crap in the air that came out as a result was unreal. It was awful labour. I hated it. And the worst thing is, because even though we were taught how to use like pneumatic tools and everything else, Because there were no qualification certificates. If you got laid off, you technically had no skills. You were classed as unskilled labour. So it's one of the biggest scams in history, and I always hated it. Luckily, I only did it as a temporary job, and I did it like before I went to university. I've never looked back. But I know people who did it for like 20 years, and then obviously, when the contracts went and the companies disappeared, well, that's it. They were literally on the scrap heap. It was horrible. A whole half a community told, "Thanks for your service. Now piss off. Now piss off. Get out of my office." And it was a horrible slap in the face. But that's what happens when multinational corporations buy out other ones. That's the dark side of big deals, people. I've suddenly gone off on a very political rant here, haven't I, people? It's not in fitting with someone driving a 60s race theme. Yeah, that story from Reddit there, Queen, sounds like a horrendous boss, and companies like that, they go to the wall very quickly. Yeah, like I say, usually I find, Queen, that the boss in that situation wouldn't have been fired, but promoted upwards, because you often fail upwards in companies like that. A lot of companies fail upwards. Out of my way. Take your ultra slow car and get out of my sight. It's not my fault you can't afford a jet. I mean, I can understand the comments roasting the original poster for risking their life to prove a point. I've heard of malicious compliance. I remember a story where basically a kid had been sent out of a classroom by a teacher and was told, under no circumstances will you leave this desk that I'm assigning you to. Well, the teacher forgot about the kid, and the fire broke out and the fire alarm went off. Kid malicious compliance, stayed at the desk, refused to move. Said teacher ran back into the building, horrified, realising and managed to drag him out. Like, I've heard of malicious compliance, but like that's the kind of thing where you really are being silly. It's like, you know, if you got a chance to avoid to lose your life to prove a point, don't do it, people. Your life's more valuable than that. Wasn't my school, it was a story I saw on somewhere like Reddit or somewhere like that. I don't quite believe it's true, to be honest, but then again, I wasn't there, so I can't comment. because there's a lot of things that happened in, like, particularly when I was a kid, which would never be allowed nowadays. I'll give you an example. When I was 10 years old, I applied via Sky's version of teletext to appear on a kids' TV show for a channel called the Children's Channel. Long been defunct. They've been defunct about 20 years now. And they used to have this little show in between, like kind of like a bumper show to fill time between cartoons. And it was simply called Head to Head. And what happened was, kids applied to go on this show. And they'd essentially, like, go down to a studio in London. And they'd be told on the day, right, the game you're playing is this. Get some practice in. And you'll get summoned when it's your call. If you win, you get a prize. If you lose, you leave the show. So it's kind of like a winner stays on gaming thing. It was actually pretty cool. Hosted by a rather legendary gaming show, a video game host called Violet Berlin. For those of you who know about European TV in the 90s. She was really awesome, actually. I loved her. Well, anyway, I went on this show. And what happened was, came down from where I live in Manchester. It's quite far north. Got all the way to London, got to the location where we were being taken to, and at this point they told my mother and stepfather, right, you have to leave the set, and everyone's parents got sent away. Now, fortuitously, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened at all. But based off what's happened in the UK ever since 2012, when certain celebrities had their allegations made against them, it could have very easily ended differently if the staff and the people had been far more nefarious. I mean, you are right, Queen. It was fun. I spent all day playing video games with a lot of random kids between 10 years old and 15 years old, eating loads of party food, drinking soda, and generally having absolutely tons of fun with people I'll never see again, people I don't even remember the names of, but it was brilliant. Ironically, I found out that the YouTuber Guru Larry had also been on the show, because he actually put a video up of his appearance on the show, and I commented on it. I went, oh my god, I came on this show years ago, I forgot all about it. And me and him had a really good conversation on YouTube via comments about the show and how it was like going inside and meeting Violet and all the weird techniques that we used to video it. Really good fun. And no worries, Evian, go take care of the Beagle. We know that the Beagle is royalty. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Who knows, I might still be on when you're done, because we've still got quite a long way to go in this race. It might only be 8 laps, but it's 8 laps in the Nordschleife, and that's a long time. As you say, Queen, yeah, creeps have ruined a lot of things for people, but at the same time, you have to think, you know, if you're a parent, I just think you're not allowed to stay on set here, but like, yep, sorry, son, we're leaving. I don't know these people. I can't trust them. You're coming home. Goodbye. And if they break out into a tantrum, I'll be like, sorry, but I don't know if anything's going to happen here. But hey, you know, as I say, I got lucky, and there were many other kids on other shows who didn't. And my heart goes out to them and their families, because they've been through hell with people saying, oh, well, they're not around to defend themselves anymore. That's a horrible thing to say. I don't give a fuck. If you abuse a kid, you deserve to be blasted and sent to hell, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if you're allowed to defend yourself or not. If you're an arsehole who bugged around with kids, as far as I'm concerned, you're fucked and you deserve to die. Again, I'm off on rant lane again, aren't I, people? This is what happens when you get stuck on races like this. It brings you down, it grinds you, takes you into places where you're just like, I've got to get out, I've got to get out. But that's the whole thing of my streams. My streams go from hither and toe. And you people out there watching make it, so thank you very, very much. Without you people, well, I'd still be here, but I'd be pontificating to nobody. Yep, Joe, very simple way of putting it, that some people are not normal. You're absolutely right. Some people, they have a privileged position and they abuse it. And that's the simple fact. They abuse what they've been given. They have a position of privilege and the responsibility that goes with it and think, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be responsible at all. Check it out, people. More than 2.5 hours this race has been going on for. So I do like the longer races. I find the meditation you have to do into the corners and thinking about your laps and everything else is actually kind of nice. Especially in a car like this where it's so easy to get full throttle, rev your car and absolutely burn your tyres. I just noticed, by the way, it's changed from get ready to drive to full throttle. So hey, at least we've not got the same message all the way through the race this time. Apparently there is a way to fix that, but I don't know how to do it. I say it's been quite fun actually, Joe, as I say. Ironically, your question popped up when I was halfway through my explanation because I'm 30 seconds ahead of you, so it's kind of ironic. I must have seen that question coming, but I'm actually really liking it. As I say, because it's so narrow and it's so bumpy and it's so tight and twisty, you really have to think about your driving line, and I really like that. It's a track that's actually joyous to drive because it's just so... It's got such a nice flow to it. And it is a ridiculously heavy challenge. You really have to think hard. So it's just a brilliant experience. I say the longer circuits, when you really have to, because you have to plan your tyre strategies as well, obviously, because you get it wrong and you do an extra lap. Well, we saw that with the Lotus Elite, the Lotus Esprit that time, when I tried taking it for an extra lap on the medium tyres and I lost like 2.5 minutes. It just shows how easy one small error can be massively punished. So I love it. It's so much fun. I say many years ago, back around about 2005, 2006, I was on a forum which sadly I don't think exists anymore, called the Nürburgring Diaries, and essentially it was like me and about 40 other users, and all we'd do was like post challenges on things to do on the Nürburgring. So like someone would say like, take a car that's rear wheel drive with 800 brake horsepower, put on normal tyres and do a lap below such a time, and you know, things like that. I'm like, you know, can you get home and can you get back to the end of the race if you use a car that's of a certain weight only and a certain size engine? And it taught me a lot about driving the circuit. The reason I know this, I won't say I know this circuit because I've never driven it for real, but the reason why this feels so natural for me to drive is because of the time I spent on here on the Ring Diaries back in the day. And I say we had quite a lot of users who I'd say, I don't know if they're still knocking around, but they were all awesome, like Viper in the Grass, and we used to come up with some like really ridiculous challenges. Like this one, which I think it's the TVR Chibira Speed 12 is in this game, and it's known as the Tractionless Behemoth. And there was a challenge to get it round the track, and it was so difficult because there was so little grip in the car. Bear in mind as well, we were playing on PS2s, so we were using the PS2 DualShock 2 and like the lack of high-speed like resolution and analog triggers, and that made it 10 times more challenging unless you had a wheel. And the wheels at the time weren't that great either, so this is like a throwback to see just what the game's capable of. Playing it with a modern controller that has analog triggers so you can have proper control over your accelerator is absolutely amazing. It transforms the game. It's why I've been able to arrest the rear wheel spin in the Jaguar in the second gear, where I was burning my tyres for earlier on. I've been able to arrest that a lot better because using the analog trigger I can apply a lot less pressure to the throttle, and it means there's a lot less tyre being burned through the road. I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I sound like I'm a technical driver. I'm not. That was right on the ragged edge then. I managed to catch it, but it was a very close call. That's, I mean, for any circuits have 128 corners. That's like insane. Like, going back to the F1 this weekend, the Red Bull Ring, the former Österreich Ring, has 10 corners. This circuit has more than 12 times the corners of an F1 circuit. Let that sink in, people. Yeah, I didn't arrest the throttle that time. Oh, I've done it again. That's annoying. That's gonna mess up my pit stop strategy. But I can get away with it. Yeah, I've heard about that, Joe, actually. I think also Danny Ricciardo's going to take a car on there as well at the same time. I think they're both taking them down. It's like a Red Bull event. Yeah, I've heard about that. That'll be a lot of fun seeing F1 back at the ring. Ah, so Yuki's there too. Oh, wow, that's so cool. So it's going to be Seb, Yuki and Ricciardo. That's amazing. So is Yuki taking like an old school Alpha Tauri around? Well, I say Alpha Tauri, I mean Toro Rosso. And speaking of Toro Rosso, apparently there's a rumour that Alpha Tauri are going to change their name again. Because I know that the clothing brand has failed to catch on, really. There was meant to be like a flagship store opening in London, but I don't know if it's actually gone to anything. Of 25 people, 2 hours 39 minutes. We have been battling hard here. You know what, Joe? I'm not surprised. It's like Max Verstappen. I want to go. Nope, you're not allowed on the Nürburgring. You're too young, or something like that. I mean, to be fair, that it would have been awesome to see, like, you know, two world champions on it like that. That would have been awesome, but. You know, at the end of the day, Helmut Marko has decided to protect his investment, I guess. Yeah, no worries, Jay. You don't have to tell me if you're going off. That's fine. Just say, I am not owed your time. No YouTuber ever is. No streamer, content creator. You are not obliged to give their time and tell them where you are. It's not how it works. We've got 2 more pit stops left to go. And a 2011 RB7, that'll be a good one to drive for him with the blown diffuser. So you'll enjoy that one. Bit too much wheel spin there, that's not good. And again, just I've got too much pressure on the throttle. Yes, the game's telling me to go full throttle, and I'm like, no, I don't want to chew my tyres to pieces. The game may want to go full throttle, I'm not. There we go, now we're doing it. End of the next lap, try and pit again, and then there'll be one final pit stop after that. Yes. Okay. So you've seen three races that were very short in the Italian Championship, and now you've seen one long endurance race. And the next stream is going to be, well, one long endurance race. And the next stream after that for GT4 is going to be another long endurance race, because we're in the Milan-Emilia now. This is one of the harder championships to win, because you have to use old cars and you have to drive for very long periods of time. But as I say, it's quite rewarding to enjoy the track. I'm not looking forward to the next race at Opera Paris. I'm really not looking forward to that. But the race afterwards at Monaco, that'll be fascinating. And then the race at La Sarthe, I can't wait to finish at Le Mans. Le Mans is absolutely fantastic. I love Le Mans. You say Le Mans is your favourite of the four. It's a brilliant circuit to drive, Le Mans. It's just such a cool circuit. Be interesting to take cars of this kind around it, because it's going to be so cool to see cars going at high speed. Say, my only thing about Le Mans is I don't like that they don't stop the races in the event of any serious accidents. They have a pride of the fact they've never been red flagged, but when you consider some of the events that have taken place at Le Mans, it seems like showboating for no reason. That's my only criticism for Le Mans. As an event, I love it. I've been there before. It was such a good time when I went to watch the race in 2014. That was the year that Audi won it, because Porsche and Toyota, despite being way faster, both had mechanical failures. Well, what it is, Queen, when they say they've never red flagged, a red flag in motorsport means the race is stopped. So basically, if you're halfway through a race and say like there's a massive pile-up, good example being Belgium 1998 in Formula 1. That race had a red flag on the opening lap because of one of the biggest multi-car accidents I've ever seen. Absolutely catastrophic collision. Well, at Le Mans, they've never actually stopped the race, never. Now, at Le Mans, I will say this now, they've had in history some horrendous accidents. In 1999, Peter Dumbrek, driving the Mercedes CLR, got a really bad gust of air that made his car take off, flip through the air, clear the barricade, and land in the forest, they didn't stop the race. In 2012, Anthony Davidson, driving for Toyota, clipped I think it was a Ferrari 458 GT car as he was trying to lap it. The car flipped and he flew into a very heavy barrier at the end of the Mulsanne Straight. They never red flagged the race. And worst of all, in 1955, an accident involving a Mercedes car caused a vehicle to catch fire, and because of the way the monocoque was made, they couldn't put the fire out. 80 people were killed. They didn't stop the race. And by the way, whatever you do, do not Google images of that accident. Whatever you do. 1955 Le Mans, you do not want to see it. It is awful. I've seen one photo of it, and believe me, it was as bad as something I've seen in a war. It was awful. Do not, under any circumstances, Google that. This is not me doing a shitpost about not Googling Sonic fan art. This is not a shitpost. This is not a joke. This is a command. Do not Google those images. I say this is not a case of curiosity killed the cat. I assure you, Queen, you're right to take my advice on it. Trust me, it is nasty. Well, yeah, Joe, you're right. Not only did spectators get severely injured, there were some who were killed. That was the thing. There were people who were killed. And what was worse, it was literally 10 years after the Second World War ended. So it was like still very, like, it was still very, very raw in terms of where it was. Yeah, to say, I'd have red flagged it for all three of them, Queen. Not just that one in 55. All three of them were so severe accidents, like they had damage to the barricades, drivers who were severely injured. Right, one driver broke the back in the incident. Anthony Davidson broke his back in the 2012 incident. You know what I mean? Peter Dunbrack was very lucky to be alive. So, for me, those kind of accidents, to say you've never red flagged the race, well, weird flags, bro, because severe, you know, saying we'd never stop the race despite people being, like, injured or killed, it's not a good flex. That'd be like if a theme park decided to carry on letting people board a ride after someone was fatally hurt by it. And I mean fatally hurt, by the way, not hit by an unfortunate piece of debris. Queen, you're not alone. That's a very common belief. It's a very common criticism of Le Mans. When it goes well, it's a brilliant event, but things like that severely overshadow it, in my opinion. As much as I love the pageantry of it, as much as I love the history of all the teams that have won it, like, you know, Bentley, Ferrari, Jaguar, Porsche, Audi, McLaren, Toyota, Mazda, BMW. You look at all the teams that are Ford, you look at all the teams that have won and all, like, the regality they bring to it. Yep, okay, I get that. But at the same time, if you're going to put people's lives at risk like that, then I'm sorry, that's massively overshadowed. My streams always go to darker places at times, don't they, people? It's part of my charm, I think. We always end up going down this avenue to discuss something rather sensitive. I don't know why that is. somehow kept my foot in that despite the tyres wearing. It might not have been very smart, that. But we're getting near the end. We're nearly 3 hours in, people. Can you believe that? Look at the timer in the top right corner of the screen. That is my live race time. That's how fast I've been doing this race. That's how long I've been doing it. And it's not because I've been slow. My best lap's an 8:11. Considering that the DTM, the DTM touring car that you do the golden license test was only a minute faster, it shows how competitive I made this car. That car had racing tyres. That car had a racing gearbox. It had downforce. And then there's me, an old E-Type Jaguar on sports tyres with no downforce. And a much more unsportsmanlike design because of the way the suspension is. I said it before, but I'll say it again. If you've not cast your vote yet in the community tab, there is a poll for the game I'm going to play after I finish either Wild Arms 2 or Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2, because they're going to be the ones I finish before GT4. GT4's got a lot more content to explore. So for me, that's the options are in there. We do at the moment, last time I checked, have one game out in front, but it's anyone's call. It's very, very close indeed. So any vote could change the future of this stream. So if you want to get your votes in there, decide what games I'm going to play, there's 4 options to pick. Go in there, cast your vote, and we'll see what we get on. Yep, that's the sign of my tyres absolutely gone. So I'm trying desperately to make it back to the pits. And then I've got 2 more stints. 1 more stint on the hard tyres. And then just for fun, we're going to put the soft tyres on for 1 lap. Just to see how much faster we can go. I was desperately trying to straight line that corner as much as possible, because the less turning circle I have on the rear tyres, the better. And all I've got to do here is get around this bend, and I can just go floor it in here, it don't matter, because the auto drive will take me in. So for the final stint, we won't be putting the fuel in. We'll be letting the car go at full pace on soft tyres, but we've got 1 more hard tyre stint to do first. That is one of the worst pit lane exits in the world. You're literally right on the edge of the racing line with no grip, cold tyres and no visibility. In the F1, that would be one of the most dangerous pit lane exits in the world. But it can't be as dangerous as the pit lane entry at the A1 ring, aka the Red Bull ring. Yeah. Topical, people. And we're making smoke. Looking at the radar, we've got a couple of cars that we're going to clear, so I've got to be careful here. Make sure I don't get caught up in that and cause an accident. So I've been doing plenty of tours of this circuit. It's a very long one. You can see the speedometer. Look how many miles we've covered. But would you believe, Queen, that this is not even the longest layout of this circuit? There's actually an endurance layout, which uses part of the modern circuit that was used in Formula 1 until a few years ago. Now that layout is actually not in this game. They actually didn't get the license to use the inside of it. It was like part of the licensing agreement at the time, so I think it was exclusive to F1. So they could only use the actual outside version. It's why you actually can see the Nürburgring Grand Prix layout. If you pull over at one side of the road, you can actually see it. It's there. And in the later games, they managed to get the license for it. Oh dear, I burned my tyres there. That was a bad idea. I got impatient. Because I didn't want to be stuck behind him here, but there's nothing I can do. They say, unfortunately, there's no blue flags in this game, so they do hold you up. There's nothing you can do about it. In real life motorsport, I'd have been able to flash my lights at him and other things, but you can't do that here. I need to catch him at the right time. No, that's not it. That's not the right time. That could have been worse, though. I'll settle for that. Say that even on a circuit like this, traffic can be a problem. If you catch them at the wrong time, there's just not much you can do about it. And it's almost impossible to engineer a way around it without really slowing off. So you just got to pull your punches and go and do what you can. There's not much you can do, and that's okay. As long as you're not taking too hard a line and taking too much out of the tyres. Because you've seen my strategy today has been 3 laps and then pitting. You can do it, and it gives you a massive advantage because the pace you have over the field is extraordinary. So I've been able to blast away the field in terms of power, but I've had to be really patient on the throttle. I'd normally be gassing at full force by now, but I can't do it to avoid wheel spin. There's like I could have gassed. You think there? Oh well, I should have gassed them much faster. But if I had done, I'd have just got wheel spinning my tyres and burned up my tyres. So it's about picking your battles, knowing your car, because that's half the battle. It is man and machine, or woman and machine, or you know whatever you pronoun you use. In my case, it's man and machine, and it's getting that fusion together is where greatness can be found. But more often than not, it's failure when I'm at the wheel, to say the least. But we are getting close to the end. We've been driving for over 3 hours on this track now. It's way past the time I'd normally finish. I'd normally have been finished half an hour ago, so it's an endurance strain tonight, people. Made even more of an endurance because I'm in work tomorrow morning. But hey ho, what can we do? And I'm not just in work, I'm in the office, so I'm going to have fun tomorrow, to say the least. But I'll be alright. I'll manage to survive worse. After all, I'm not the one who's staying up all night trying to get to the point where I can do a night shift in one day, so I've got it easy. Light dab of the brakes, take as much of the car control as we can, and set up to be trying ideally to stay as near to third gear as possible. Because it's second gear where I'm getting the worst of the wheel spin. But you also don't want to short shift in a car of this age because it's not got the best use of outer sequence engines. Yeah, I'll be up early tomorrow, Joe, definitely. I'll be up very early because I've got to go to the office. So I will be up extremely early. Well, I've done it before, it's not a big deal. As I say, it's like, you know, it's a part of the job at the end of the day. I'm usually up early even if I don't want to be fair, Joe. On Sunday I woke up at like 5 o'clock and went screwed us and going back to bed, and I won't end up like sleeping till maybe 6:30. It just sometimes happens. Other days I get up at 8 o'clock, it depends on what's going on really. Yeah, that felt good. Sleepers for the weak, coffee is for the great. Yes, Avian would like that one. Oops, we've gone wide. We've gone very wide indeed. Just 2 laps to go, 3 laps, 2.5 laps to go, people. That's it. We're almost there. You all wanted to see it, so we're doing it. We're taking on the Amelia. I'm looking forward to the race at the South because that should be much faster than this. A lot of it's a full throttle, so we'll be able to like just go through much quicker. There's less like squirty throttling that you get here. And it's also a much shorter track, so it'll be a big difference maker. Yeah, I'm not backing out now, Queen. No chance. Oh, you used too much power then. That's annoying. But it's okay. So literally this lap, the one after it, then we'll pit, put on the soft tyres and go for a fast lap to finish. We'll finish strong, people. Our tyre supplier must be hating the amount of like adverts for their durability, but they must be loving the advert for the pace, so it's a double-edged sword for them. In fact, I don't think that's anything that's happened in this game before. Having actual competing tyre companies, and that'd be really interesting. You know, if they could get like a deal with, say, like Bridgestone and Yokohama and Hankook and Michelin and Goodyear and Dunlop, and actually have it where you could choose the tyres, that'd be pretty awesome. No, Joe. Let's not watch the replay. No! If you want to watch the replay, go to my YouTube channel and click the live button. It'll do more for my analytics and the algorithm. Also, please like, share, and subscribe while you're there. Ugh. I actually did that. Ugh. Shameful. Oh yeah, we'll be ending after this race, Queen. No doubt about that. We will be ending after this race. Used too much of the rear tyres there then, that's not good. One more lap. All we need, and then we can pit for our final lap of honour. Nice one, we're in a good position here. This is a fast lap time. This is looking pretty fast. The only problem with that means that the next lap's going to be really slow because the tyres are going to be gone, but nothing you do about it. So we go past the pits this one last time, because what we want to do now is we want to complete one more lap. And oh wow, an 8-minute dead. I just took 11 seconds out of my fastest time. Yeah, I should have enough leave either way, Queen, you're not wrong, but it's about having fun getting back to the pits. I didn't have fun that time in the Lotus, so we should be moving things around. Don't get me wrong, I like Lotus, but not when I'm spinning around. Yeah, if I do it to the pits now, it should also mean that I don't encounter any traffic on my lap. And that'd be really nice. I am indeed, Queen. Yes, that time is right, because look at how long a lap's taken me. My best lap was 8 minutes. So do the mathematics. 8 times 25 is a long time. 200 minutes. And that's bang on 8 minutes. That's bang on 8 minutes a lap, and I've not been anywhere near that. My fastest lap before the last one was 8 minutes 11 seconds. It's because the lap time is so long. You can see it in the middle underneath my rear view mirror. That's telling me my current live time. This is going to be a new series for the next few races, Queen. Both Avian and Joe wanted to see me take on the 1,000 miles, and every race is about this length. They're all ridiculously long races. And we're in classic cars as well. So you're not just in like, you're not just like on long races, but you're also driving cars which are nowhere near the ones you'd want to use. You know, if you had a chance to use like one of my touring cars or one of my Group C Le Mans cars, it'd be a lot faster. But they don't count, they don't qualify. Yeah, I'm actually enjoying it though, Queen, that's the thing. It's been a good challenge. I've had to really think about the way I'm driving my car. Like in second gear, if I apply too much throttle, I get a load of rear wheel spin which chews my tyres to pieces. And on a track like this, you need to avoid that happening, because otherwise you can get stuck. And it's been good to actually have that experience. It's been a really good test of my ability to drive. It's definitely shown my skills tonight. It's one of my more skilled races. Yeah, Joe, it's a good way of describing it. It's the World Endurance Championship, but with classic cars. There was actually a series years ago called GT Racer, where they actually had like 8 to 12 hour races, and they were driving things like classic Mustangs and classic Ferraris and classic Aston Martins. I think the next race is sadly going to be Opera Paris, a track I cannot stand. 94 laps of it. 94. That's the next race, people. But don't think that, but before you all start gasping, it gets worse. Because for the third race at the Côte d'Azur, aka Monaco Monte Carlo, we are racing 99 laps. Oh yeah, 99. And you thought 60 laps of Tokyo Route 246 was a challenge? Oh, think again. You have to understand, Queen, it's nothing to do with hurting the designers. This is simulating a championship which used to exist called the Miglia Miglia, which is Italian for 1,000 miles. The irony being that in this version, most of the cars are American and Japanese, and that's not how they used to road. It was all European sports cars, like Jags, Aston Martins, Ferraris, Porsches, Lancias, Alfa Romeos, you know, Lamborghinis. That's what it was back in the day. Vontori and many others. I'm looking forward to the fourth race in the series at the Circuit de la Sarthe, though. 35 laps at Le Mans. That's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to that one. Oh, I don't need to encounter traffic here. This is one of the worst places for it. Get off my road. Get off my road. Mr. Alfa Romeo, get out of here. So we got one more pit stop and we're going to be going on to the soft tyres, people. We're about to start our final lap. This is a much slower lap, this one. I burned the tyres out on my record lap last time, so I'm paying the price, but it's been worth it just to say I set a fastest lap. Yep, the tyres are on the ragged edge here because you saw the amount of like wheel spin that I got in third gear. So that's not good. I can't wait to ditch these tyres, to be honest. It'll be good to ditch them. This circuit, the Nürburgring Queen, was designed as the ultimate racetrack. In many ways it still is. It still exists today. You can actually pay money to take any car you want around it, believe it or not. You can just turn up and go, I'll have a go, please. Fuel, no. Soft, 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 soft. We're going hardcore for the final lap. With the pit stop time, it's probably not going to be a fast lap, but we're going to do what we can anyway. We have more than enough fuel, so we're going to take this on. And I have grip. I have lots of grip. Because we're going 2 steps down in the range of tyre, and already I can feel the difference. So let's see just how fast this baby goes. This is actually very enjoyable now. Now that I've got some proper rubber underneath me, this feels a million times quicker. This is feeling much, much faster. Just because it feels it, doesn't mean it is. More like it. Yes, we're going hard on the tyres, people, because we don't need to keep them alive. This is our ultra soft attack everything tyre. We are going fast. Well, it's a very generous prediction, that, Joe, but let's see if it comes off. Bear in mind, I'm not having to preserve my tyres as much now. I'm just on attack mode. I shouldn't encounter any traffic. So that's important. I just feel like I can... The car is so much more compliant on these tyres. I can be like, I don't want to lose 5 centimetres, and the car just responds. Walter Roll described driving the Lancia 037 in San Remo's like his shoe, and it just fit perfectly. And now I know exactly what he means. See, that was glorious through there. Absolutely glorious. You can see the yellowing of the tyres already, but I don't care, because we are fast. At this point, we are passengers. There's nothing more we can do. On this straight, we can just go. Full 5 seconds faster. Bang on the 7 minutes 40. You were bang on the money, Joe. Amazing prediction. 3 hours, 30 minutes, 11 seconds, .365. We didn't even see where the others ran. There was a Mini Marcos, another British representative in a VW Carmen Ghia, but the Mazda, the Chevrolet, the Nissan, all outclassed by the Jaguar E-Type, and you were literally half a second out, Joe. Absolutely extraordinary. That was a really hardcore race. 150,000 credits is my sole payout for that. So you don't do this race for the money. That much I can tell you. I'm just going to put a quick state save. Would you like to withdraw? No, I wouldn't like to withdraw. What I wanted to do was come back here. And as you can see how it says there, you are currently racing in 1,000 miles. And I feel like I've gone 1,000 miles. It's 5 to midnight. We have gone way, way, way over budget in terms of our time. And I think I've earned a bit of a sleep, and so have all of you who stayed the course. We will pick this up the next time we race Gran Turismo. It's probably going to be back next week. We'll see when it's going to be. We're going to be back on Wednesday evening when we continue our playthrough of Wild Arms 2, courtesy of the PS5. Until then, thank you all very, very much for watching. And 25 laps of the Nordschleife. You're fucking welcome.